Before I start the video like I normally would, I do want to put this slight disclaimer in the beginning here. While I'm doing this unboxing, I will be wearing nitrile gloves. The reason is because of the coronavirus. Now, I'm not saying that this package has coronavirus in it or on it, and I'm not saying anything about Get FPV or FPV Crate or any of the companies involved that there's any kind of coronavirus around. I don't want to start any kind of a scare. However, on the CDC website, which stands for the Center for Disease Control, it does state, am I at risk for COVID-19 from a package or product shipping from China? There is still a lot that is unknown about the newly emerged COVID-19 and how it spreads. 2 other coronaviruses have emerged previously to cause severe illness in people, MERS-CoV and SARS-CoV. The virus that causes COVID-19 is more genetically related to SARS-CoV than MERS-CoV, but both are beta coronaviruses with their origins in bats. While we don't know for sure that this virus will behave the same as SARS and MERS-CoV, we use the information gained from both of these earlier coronaviruses to guide us. In general, because of poor survivability of these coronavirus on surfaces, here's the kicker, there is likely very low risk of spread from products or packaging that are shipped over a period of days or weeks at ambient temperatures. Coronaviruses are generally thought to be spread most often by respiratory droplets. Currently, there is no evidence to support transmission of COVID-19 associated with imported goods, and there have not been any cases of COVID-19 in the United States associated with imported goods. Information will be provided on the Coronavirus Disease 2019 COVID-19 website as it becomes available. The kicker here is the line that says basically, we're not sure if it's going to behave the same as these other viruses, and it's likely a low risk. Now, to me, that doesn't make me feel very comfortable. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say, for example, you were skydiving and you turned to your instructor and you said, am I going to die when we jump out of this plane? And he said, well, there's likely a low risk of that happening. Doesn't make you feel very good and warm and fuzzy, does it? So, with that being said, I'm just taking the precautions that are recommended, that you wash your hands, use gloves, don't touch your face, don't touch your mouth and your nose, and make sure when you're done doing whatever you're doing, you again wash your hands again. And that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm wearing the gloves. Not so much that the gloves really are just so that I'd remember to not touch my face. So that's all. I don't want to cause any scares. I don't want people thinking there's coronavirus in the FPV crates. I'm just taking the precautions. Is it over the top and probably not necessary? I'm pretty sure that's the case. However, why risk it? That's my opinion. All right, so enjoy. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tronage, and today we're going to be talking about FPV Crate. Yeah, I know, it's in a Team Black Sheep themed bag. I didn't remove it because I actually wanted you guys to see it. It's kind of cool how it comes in the poly bag with the Team Black Sheep logo splattered all over it. So I wanted you to check that out. But you want to see what's inside this box? You want to check it out with me? Well, then you're going to have to stick around. Alright guys, FPV Crate. Now, I left it in the bag because like I said, I wanted you to see the logo on it, but here's my question for you. One of my complaints about Drone Drop was that they splattered all over it. Team Black Sheep, Team Black Sheep, Team Black Sheep, logos all over it, wording all over it, and then the boxes kind of didn't have that kind of get up and go of Team Black Sheep products. Now, I'm pretty sure this being a Team Black Sheep themed product box, there better be at least something in here that's Team Black Sheep. Otherwise, I'm going to be very cranky. But with that being said, we're going to crack this open. We're going to see what's going on in here. And I will say for FPV Crate, I mean, I know that there is the delays and everything in China with the coronavirus and everything. And along with that, Quadbox actually opted to just not do a February box for the simple fact of to avoid any kind of problems, delays, or, you know, who knows. So they kind of said, you know what, we're just going to take a step back and, you know, let things get back to normal, and then we'll resume, which I think was a great idea. FPV crates solution, which also was a good idea, was to have the packages fulfilled directly in China and then shipped here. However, you know, like I mentioned in my disclaimer, I am taking proper precautions. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to crack this open. I'm going to bring it all up in close and give you my genuine reactions about what I see in this package and how it all works out. Then we're going to do a cost analysis to see how this works out into the grand scheme of things, and I'll give you my general opinions on this stuff. But before we do any of that, slam that subscribe button. While you're at it, hit that bell icon. Makes finding my videos a whole heck of a lot easier, helps support the channel, and keeps you in the know when I post videos such as this one. So, without further ado, come on in. All right. We got our box here. We got this really cool poly bag with all the Team Black Sheep stuff on here. So let's cut this bag off first so we can take our first look at the box that's inside. Okay, so it is in a old-fashioned drone drop box. And I'm guessing this is because they, well, quite frankly, because they probably had a bunch of them left over from the last time, because there was that one time I believe I got a drop ship from China as well. So they probably had a bunch of these boxes laying around, so I figured why not use them. So it is in a drone drop box, even though it is an FPV crate box. So, premium parts, cutie face, but I really hope there's some really good stuff in here. And oh look, there's nothing to cut at all. Oh, FPV crate, you let me down. I need my sticker to cut. We'll pretend. Oh, yeah, it wasn't the same. All right, little pre-open on that flap. Get things situated and squared away. Open it up. Are you ready to see what's inside? I know I'm dying to see. Let's check it out together. All right, so at first up here we have all the paperwork stuff here. So let me just take that to the side. So we have some pretty cool stickers here. Kind of light, very lightweight, I mean, almost tissue paper thin compared to what I'm usually used to with the FPV crate stickers. So it's pretty cool stuff though. You got the TBS Unify, you have your RSSI signal at 99, which when you're using Crossfire, that's pretty much what you have the whole time. Some FPV crate logos, some other little thingies and whatnots. Pretty cool stuff. All right. The other thing that's interesting in this little piece of handiwork here was this letter from FPV Crate, which I will read to you. Dear FPV Crate customer, as you probably know, China is currently on lockdown due to the coronavirus, which has greatly impacted their ability to produce and ship out good. That should say goods, I think. Anyway, however, since there is so much anticipation for the February boxes and we just couldn't let you down. We found a way to ship out the February crate, but with a slight delay. TBS is pitching in to help pack the boxes directly from TBS at their Hong Kong location. Without them, we couldn't have been able to make this happen. However, your next shipment may look a bit different because we are unable to package your orders in one of our awesome FPV crate boxes. We hope that you like the February TBS plus FPV crate box, and we're super excited about the March crate. Thank you so much for your patience and being an FPV crate subscriber. Your Get FPV and FPV crate team. So that's pretty nice that they acknowledge that they are late. It is, you know, almost a week into March already, and usually FPV crate's one of the first in the gate for the month. So they are substantially late, but it's understandable. And as well, they acknowledge that it's also in a different kind of a box, and that, you know, they're acknowledging, you know, hey, don't be mad, it's not really our fault. And I have to agree, there is a coronavirus is going on. It's a bad thing, and we're, you know, taking the precautions necessary, but we still got our box. Now let's dig in. So first off, this is looking pretty, it's light, but we'll see. Maybe there's some high ticket items in here. So We're gonna go with the props first. We got, let's see here, they are the T-Motor 5146s. You can check it out there. In the clear blue, it's a pretty cool color. I'm actually kind of digging that. Pretty cool. All right, next up, let's go with what I think is gonna be an antenna. It's the Triumph, the TBS Triumph Pro, which I haven't actually seen in person yet. I am a big fan of the Triumph. So let's crack this open, see if I can do that without damaging my gloves here. Ah, okay. Kind of reminds me of an Axie. Same little, you know, gumdrop dot shaped top, and then it also has the MMCX connector on the bottom, which is my favorite connector of choice. Pretty cool. All right, put that here, and then let's see here, we got two things. Let's go with this one first. Okay, so this is the glass ND filters. We've actually received this before. I remember getting this, and my complaint was I don't really have a use for it. It's a glass ND filter for GoPro or a Session or something, but I don't own a GoPro or a Session, so having an ND filter is not really beneficial to me, even if it's a nice glass one. What an ND filter is basically like sunglasses for your GoPro, so you can have your exposure turned up a little bit, but then you put these on to make it so the light doesn't get washed out, and it just makes your videos in bright sunlight look more professional. However, you need a camera that's compatible with this glass filter, which I don't own one, so it's of no use to me. And then lastly, we have, it's the Unify Pro with the MMCX connector. So basically it is a video transmitter. It's pretty cool. Actually, hang on, this is, and you can see it's a little bit of a different form factor. It's sort of like encased in a brick almost. Like there's little standoffs between it, if you can see. See how it's like kind of two boards sandwiched together? That's a good angle. You can see right there, there's like the two boards. And then it's got like the little standoffs in the corner, so it's more of like a little pack of gum style than the normal just board type that I've been used to seeing. But it's also nice. It comes with an MMCX pigtail. It comes with the leads to basically hook it up to whatever you need. Has a little thing for power if you wanted to use a JST connector. They have one of those in there. So pretty cool deal. And that's it. So to recap, we have the video transmitter. We have an ND filter. We have the Triumph Pro antenna. And we got 3 sets of props. And a sticker sheet. And a letter apologizing. And a coupon code. And the little cheat sheet that I don't like to look at because I want to do my own cost analysis. All right, let's run some numbers and see what this is really worth. All right, I know you want that delicious, scrumdiddlyumptious cost analysis. Here it is. Let's go through this line by line. Now, normally I would be holding up the product, but as I said, I've kind of put them on the side, mostly because I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, and I'm kind of a little extra cautious with this whole coronavirus thing going on right now. So do you need to be this meticulous? You know, that's for you to decide. I'm making my decisions, and this is what I choose to do, and this is how I'm going to choose to, you know, the measures I'm going to do to protect myself. So anyway, first up, we got those T-Motor props. Now, we have received these 5146s in previous boxes. Definitely a decent prop, and I love getting these props in these boxes because I've said it before, I'll say it again. Don't be cheap. These T-Motor props are like $3.19, I believe, per pack, which makes them less than $1 each. So if you crash and you bend or chip one, don't do the whole, I just, you know, bend this back, or, oh, that chip's not so big of a deal. Because if you have banged up props and you try to fly on that, it's going to throw off your tune. It's just not going to, like, fly proper. And the other issue is that you can end up, I've had it, where the prop kind of like will explode in mid-flight, and then your craft will fall out of the sky and then really break. So for under $1 cost to replace a prop, just do it. Don't be cheap. I used to be cheap, and I've learned my lesson because it turned into a very expensive repair a couple of times. So don't make the same mistakes I do. Swap out your props when they basically take any kind of damage. Next up, we have the ND filter. Now, we also have received the same exact ND filter. I think it may have been a different. This is the ND15. What that means is it's just a level of how dark it is. The higher the number, I believe, the darker the lens will be. Think of it like sunglasses. ND stands for neutral density, and the idea is basically when you have really bright light outside, like sunlight, that can kind of blow out your image in a camera. By putting these ND filter on there, it brings all the tones and all the brightnesses like down a scale so that the camera can actually handle them and not just get completely blown out. However, as I mentioned, this is I don't really know what it's compatible with, because on their website as well on the package, it never really says what it's for, whether it's for a session, whether it's for a GoPro, whether you need like a special adapter for it. But I have opened it up, and it's just a piece of glass. There's no frame, there's no clip, there's no anything. So if you have a GoPro or a session, or you know what this is for and you have a way to attach it, let me know in those comments down below. I'm dying to know, like, actually, can I use it? Because I do have one of the original sessions. I don't have a Hero though, so if it's only for a Hero, then I guess I'm out of luck. But I am curious to know how to use it, or if it requires like a bracket or something to hold it on. I don't know if like the GoPros, like the Hero, comes with like a removable lens. I don't know. But in any case, it's unusable to me. Maybe it's usable to you. I feel like it's kind of not very usable to a lot of people, because it looks like it's square, and I think the Heroes are more of a rectangular shaped lens, so I think it's for a session, and I don't know how to put it on a session, so I don't really know. So I'm not sure the use of that, and I'm not going to fault it, but I also will tell you I personally don't know what to do with it. And then we have the Triumph Pro antenna. I'm really excited, and this was one of the things that I was excited to get, because I saw it on their website, but I never actually held one and felt one. And I'll tell you, it looks and feels and smells and tastes. No, I didn't actually smell it or taste it. It looks like a Lumineer Axie antenna in all intents and purposes. It's the same general shape, size. I'm guessing maybe the same kind of formulation of what's inside the little nugget on the top, just because of the way the description reads. It sounds a very similar design as the Axie, so I don't know. But the way I see it is that we're sort of at a point where I feel like as long as you have good quality equipment, whether you put an Axie or you put a Triumph or you put a, you know, for the most part, they all have pretty decent reception, for at least for what I do, where it's freestyle or race kind of in the general vicinity of yourself. At 25 milliwatts in a park in front of me, it's hard to tell the difference between which antenna you're using and not. So, you know, your results may vary, but as far as visually, it looks just like an Axie, and I'm sure it'll perform like an Axie. I mean, the original Triumph was a solid antenna. The only real competitor I thought it really did have was the Axie. It was my other go-to antenna. So now that the Triumph has an Axie version to make it that much more robust and small and lightweight, I'm sure it's going to perform just great. So I don't think it's so super critical. As long as you get quality parts in your build, you'll be fine. And lastly, we have the TBS Unify, their new one they say it goes to 1000 milliwatts, or I guess that's 1 watt of output power, which is sick crazy. Reading through the specs real quick, the other thing I thought was pretty nifty about it is they're advertising that it can last for, I don't want to misquote it, but I'm going off the top of my head, that it can last for hours without an antenna on it. So basically, if you forget to put your antenna on and happen to power up your VTX, supposedly it protects itself and doesn't self-destruct or something, which I thought was pretty cool. But also at the same time, I don't know many drones that you could plug on and leave for hours. Well, I guess the battery would last for hours if you're not flying. I'm thinking, you know, it's a 3-minute pack, but if you're just sitting plugged in and you forgot about it and it sat on the counter, maybe it could last for a couple hours just sitting idle. I don't know. I definitely like this new design path that we're going down with a lot of the different VTXs that I'm seeing, where it looks like a little pack of gum, where the whole thing is basically a little flat, square, cubey looking thing, and it's all self-contained. It's not really, no more exposed circuitry and stuff like that. I kind of like the compactness, and I'm sure that helps with the shielding. I'm sure it helps with heat dissipation and stuff, and I just like that little general design of it. Now, the one thing I will notice and point out here is that the antenna, at least that I received, is the 90-degree MMCX connector. The typical that I would say I would prefer is the straight, and the reason is because when you put your VTX into your craft, you know, you have your VTX this way. If you have a 90-degree MMCX, it means you're going to be plugging in like this and your antenna is going to stick straight up. Now, that might be fun for some people, depending on maybe if you mount your VTX, maybe you want to mount it like horizontal or vertically, and then you can have it point out the back or something. But in my mind, when I'm thinking about a build, the general gist is that the VTX antenna is pointing out the back of the quad at about a 45-degree angle, which usually is a straight connector with the wire being bent a little bit. At least that's usually how I end up doing my builds. So having it be a 90-degree connector means that either the VTX would have to be up on end so that the 90-degree would come out this way and then it would bend up, or you would have to plug it in so that it can lay flat. But I think how to describe this. So here's your VTX, let's pretend, and then here's the 90-degree. If you plug in the 90-degree here on the end, you can lay it flat and you can come straight out and then bend up. Or you could mount it vertically and have it be a 90 degrees like this and bend and come out. I know that's kind of an awkward way to describe what I'm trying to say, but it just, if it was a straight MMCX connector, I feel like it would be a little bit easier to work with, at least the way I build, but to each their own. My feeling is that typically when they pick different products and different items to be in these boxes, they usually go with the one that they have most stock in, because it's easier to liquidate the stuff that's been sitting around for a while. And I'm guessing off the top of my head, a 90-degree MMCX connector is probably less desirable than a straight MMCX connector, and that's why we received the 90s, because it's not the standard that people would just pick up and buy, so they probably had a bunch of them laying around. Either way, it's a great antenna. Wait, how did I end up back on the antenna when I was talking about the VTX? Either way, I'm sure it's a great antenna, and the VTX, I'm sure, is going to be solid. I mean, I don't have experience using this one yet. I have tons of experience using the regular Unifies, the high volts, you know, the ones that we have received in previous boxes, and then I've used in many of my builds. Rock solid, awesome VTX, but I haven't used this one yet. But I have no doubt it's going to perform good. I mean, it's made by TBS. It's part of their Unify line, and I'm sure it's going to be fine. So the combination between the two should be a match made in heaven. And that brings us down, if you look at the bottom there now, we have about just almost $25 worth of value over the cost of the box. And if you're new around here, my gauge is that $20 is sort of like my cutoff point, where when you get a mystery box, you're sacrificing choice of products. You don't get to choose anything, but you hopefully get better value. And I feel like $20 is a good trade-off for sacrificing choice for value. So as long as I get about $20 worth of value, I'm cool. This is about $25. Now, the one caveat I'm going to throw in here, at least from my perspective, is, again, this ND filter I have no use for, or at least know how to use, and there's no instructions, no information, and it's probably not going to get used. So if I was making these purchases, I certainly wouldn't have purchased it. The antenna, yes, absolutely. The VTX, Definitely. Those two items right there are two things I've had my eye on and I wanted to try, but I just haven't pulled the trigger in purchasing them. So I'm really glad to have them now so I can work them into a build. And props, always need some new props. These T-Motor ones are fantastic, so I'm happy to have got those. Now, if you total those up, that lands me at around $19 or so, $19, $20. So I'm still right at my threshold for being happy, and I feel like the little ND filter was sort of like a little toss-in gimme to just try to make it look a little bit more impressive, since it would look pretty empty just having props, antenna, and the VTX in the box. That's my take on it. Still happy, still an awesome box. Super excited to try the antenna and the VTX, especially together. That's going to be a really cool combination. I'm really excited to see how that performs, because that should be really killer, and I'm super excited about that. Now, since there is no quad box for February, they've opted to just basically take a step back, reevaluate things instead of trying to push it and force it and, you know, maybe making promises that couldn't come true or showing up late to the party or something. They just basically said, you know what, we're just going to take a break. Let the coronavirus do its thing, and then we'll come back in March, swinging. So since there is no quad box to compare to, here's your comparisons for now up through February. So if you're new around here, I'm going to give you the quick and dirty tour. This stuff at the bottom here that's kind of grayed out, that's sort of like historical data that we're just using to compare quad box versus drone drop. Since drone drop is no more, even though this box did say drone drop, FPV Crate kind of took them over, kind of absorbed their customers, it's a long story, but basically that's why the box was a drone drop box, because it's from TBS. They had the boxes on hand, so it's just how they ended up working out doing this box. However, drone drop is no longer in existence, so therefore we don't really care anymore how they compare, since you can't really go and subscribe to them. However, I like to include that data so you can see where they land as far as a value that was provided. Now, FPV Crate came into the mix in July of 2019, so that's why now, to make everything fair, I'm starting my cost analysis between quad box and FPV Crate starting at July, so that this way we can see, dollar for dollar, month to month, how are they comparing. So as you can see, in 2019, from July through December, quad box still provided more value than FPV Crate. Now here we are in 2020, and you can see FPV Crate is pulling ahead. They're currently the leader, that's why they are marked in green, for providing the most value in 2020. But now if we total everything up and have the running total from July 2019 to this month, even though Quadbox did not submit a box and have anything into the running for this month, they are still in the lead just by a smidge, a little smidge, but they still are in the lead as far as providing the best value, which should give you an indication if they're able to maintain their lead and they didn't even give a box. That shows you how much value they're giving. Now, granted, it is because their December box was stupendously killer compared to the other boxes that were released in December, and I think that gave them a real big jump start. However, if you don't believe my numbers, you don't have to. However, I do have a video about every single one of these boxes and every single total that I've come up with, and you're more than welcome to check. There's a playlist you can check there which has all my videos for all my boxes, and you can go through them and add them up yourself and see what you come up with. But these are what I came up with. At least that's what Excel spits out when I hit total. So that's what I'm going to go with. But now moving forward for March, what is going to happen? Because I know in the email that came out, the announcement, I think they mentioned about that they weren't going to put out a February box, but they were going to try to maybe put out something like extra special for March. I don't know. I'm not privy to any of that kind of information, but Quadbox might come out with something incredible to kind of make up for missing out for this last month. So that's something to definitely keep on your radar if you're thinking about subscribing. Might be a good time to jump in on a quad box, because this next box might be good. I mean, I don't know. Don't take my word for it. Make your own decisions. I just give you my ideas and my thoughts. And FPV Crate might come out with something good, because this box was definitely on par, nothing wrong with it, definitely some great products here, but now are we continuing the TBS like partnership? Is it going to be like Drone Drop, where they say TBS partnered but then like start giving junk? Or are they going to just go with a different thing and this was just a one and done for TBS? I don't know what the next box holds. I'm just thinking, you know, Quadbox might be a one to keep your eye on, just because they weren't here for February. They might come out with a mega box for March. Something to think about. All right, so as always, my name's Tronage. Fly strong.